Welcome to the 125th episode of the Nerdom and Other Nonsense Anime Podcast. Today we are covering shows that aired during week 9 of the winter 2020 season. As always, we have timestamps in the description of the YouTube video and podcast feed if you only want to hear about one or two specific shows. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. It's a pandemic of spoilers on this podcast.
Oh my god.
My name is Leo, and I'm Pretty Princess Tutu Girl, even though I've never watched Princess Tutu. Also with me are Kat and Bcom.
Yes, you are a pretty Princess Tutu Girl, Leo. You'll always be so.
That was a very impromptu when I talked about the spoilers there.
Yeah, I could tell. Oh, man. Yeah, well, I can't really blame you. We've all been kind of cooped up lately, and it's hard not to joke about it. Because, like,
you
if you don't joke about
up.
it, then
I've
you're
been
just
cooped
sad.
up at work.
Yeah, it's amazing, actually.
I love coming to work and being greeted by two people in hazmat suits and face masks and forehead temperature scanners every day. You walk in through the front doors, you see that, you're like, I don't want to be here. What?
Yeah, it's like
what?
anywhere I need to go through this to get to is probably a place I don't want to fucking be.
This is what you do. You take one of those, like, you know those, like, hand warmers they have for, like, skiing?
Dude, don't even
Push
start.
it against your
We
forehead.
have found 50 different ways to possibly easily... Yeah. We take your coffee mug, put your forehead against the fucking air on your car, just turn the heat on. I mean, there's, like, hot, sweaty headbands that purposely make your head hot. We haven't figured out if icy hot actually makes your skin hot.
Well, do you actually get paid though if you have a fever and they just can't let you in? Or
Yeah,
just get
they'll
sent
send you home and they have to pay us.
Oh, we'll see. I mean, I don't know why you aren't doing this already. Then come on. I mean, and the choice is obvious, Leo. I mean, I would have been doing that a while ago.
Yeah, but that is not my nonsense. But Become, what's your nonsense?
Oh, okay. So I've played the first D&D campaign of my life last night.
Wow, even I've at least played once or twice.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've like watched people play a lot on like Twitch and stuff, and yeah, I've always heard how much fun it is. But yeah, always wanted to play with like some friends for the first time. So Andrew from the Recovery of an Anime Junkie podcast, he has like some pretty good experience being a dungeon master. And so he's actually creating his own campaign, which he's still working on. He's been working on it for a long time, and it's like pretty impressive, like all the world building and maps and like lore he's created for it. But since I was talking about wanting to play just like a short D&D game, he decided to make like a spin-off, like one-shot campaign that would only last like 4 hours or so, or 5 hours. And we also invited Mandy and Mason from the AAA podcast to play with us, and Kazuo from the AAA
nice
podcast. Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah.
And so our party was pretty great because
Tell me about your character, because you made yours specifically after somebody.
my character is 4'9". She's 16 years old.
Oh no.
She wields a shield, which doesn't have a devour ability, but
you disgusting pervert. No.
she also has a pet turtle familiar named Syrup.
Become no.
So yeah, I played as Maple as like a shield master fighter class, and it was so much fucking fun.
I bet it would be fun
AC
to
was
play
so
as
high
her.
I could like barely ever be hit. Like it was so
Yeah.
good. I was upset though because I had a poison spray attack because I made myself like an Eldritch Knight or some bullshit that Chibi Rob suggested to me, and I like got to use the poison spray like once and I missed, and I was so upset. But yeah, like the rest of the party was really fun too. Like Mason played a character named Kyomon, which was based on Kaimon from Dorohedoro. So he was basically like a giant dragonboard like lizard dude like,
Awesome.
going around kicking ass. And yeah, like Kazuo was like this hilarious wizard, and Mandy was like a badass ranger with a giant weasel companion.
Mandy would be awesome with a weasel companion.
Oh, she kicked ass as our ranger, and like she was one of the best role players in the group too. Like what Andrew didn't like take into consideration is how much we would all role play and like waste so much time role playing. Like while we're having a great time, and so he's like, "Oh, we're gonna get this one shot done in one night. It's gonna be great." And like a couple days beforehand, I was telling him like, "You know, we're not gonna get this done in one night. It's not gonna happen."
He's like,
so,
no,
yeah,
but I'm being optimistic. And you guys are like, no.
We went from like 7:30 to like midnight or something, and so we ended at like I think the final boss encounter where it was just about to start, and he was like, let's just call it a night. We'll find another day to finish this. It's like maybe 2 hours more, and so yeah, it was so much fun though. Like just coming up with bullshit that Maple would say in response to things was so much fun. Sometime I'll make like my own like created character, but like for this first game, it was a great idea to like build off something I knew and like try to act like how they would act. It made it a lot easier to role play. So,
I bet. Yeah.
it was super fun.
Fun. I really haven't known what to do with myself. Like, I'll sit around at home and be like, but wait, what do normal people do when they aren't busy as fuck? I'm like, I can't go to the gym and I can't go out anywhere. All the clubs are shut down. What? No. The walls are closing in. So I've watched a bunch of movies, watched a bunch of TV that I normally don't watch. It feels weird. Yeah. But nice. I like it. I went on a big walk the other day, like 7 or 8 miles or something. And,
oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah, and there's a lot more people out, like, just walking and stuff than normal. I think everyone's just tired of being cooped up in their houses.
Just like, have to get out of here.
Yeah, it's like, let's walk around. It's for exercise. Ah. It's not like our impending doom is upon us or anything. So
yeah, I feel like a lot more people are like sort of like walking around their own neighborhoods and stuff like than usually would be just to get outside.
I read an article today on like some things are like going to suddenly become like really mainstream or popular due to all this, and like one of them was like running. They're like, running is going to get super big again. Everyone's going to be doing 5Ks after the quarantine's done and over with. And I was like, I think I can agree with that. I think that will happen.
Yeah, no, I can totally see it because people are like, well, we need to do something for exercise. This is all we have. So
yeah.
Yep. But yeah, that's basically what I've been doing. I've been like watching like grown-up TV, not just anime.
Like what in particular? Anything fun?
Good Girls on Netflix, which I find weirdly fun. I don't know why. I'm just like, yeah, you soccer mom, you fucking give it to that gangster.
Can I give you a suggestion?
Yeah.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, that's on. Yeah, that's pretty great too.
That's on Hulu. Yeah.
Okay. I've heard before that I should watch that.
It's hilarious.
Okay.
And I think I started that by binge watching it like over a Christmas break or something one year. They're working on the 7th season, so there's a lot of content.
Oh.
Jeez,
yeah. That's the only thing about I'll be like, oh yeah, surely I'm close to the end, and I'll look at something and I'll be like, oh fuck, there's so much of everything.
They also does this really great thing that like every time the episode opens for like a minute and a half to like 2 minutes, even shorter sometimes, it's like its own skit that's just kind of separate from the rest of the episode, and they're hilarious. Like I showed Bcom here, it's called The Full Bullpen.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, watch that. Is that it for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so restricted now. Leo, what have you been up to? By the way, I also want to try Animal Crossing. I want to, but I don't know if you actually have to go buy it or if you can buy it in the App Store.
You can buy it in the App Store. Yeah, you can get it digitally.
Okay, because I'm considering it seriously, but I'm like slightly afraid. I'm like, but I don't know anything about anything. But I may like go ahead and try. We'll see.
I've been happily watching like all of my friends play it from a distance because for me it's the kind of game where like you have to like actually like log in and play it like kind of every day, unless you like go into your Switch settings and just like change the date and time and like cheat by that doing that, like because like different shit unlocks like over to real time, and for me like I don't know if I can like commit to doing that long term. Like maybe if it was a phone game I can do it, but a Switch game I can't really do that.
I mean with Mystic Messenger I did that so fucking much. I'm ready for that. Oh yeah. Okay, I don't know if you remember Mystic Messenger. you'd have to wake up at, wasn't it like 2 or 3 in the fucking morning every day so that you could get that one chat room, because if you didn't, you would miss shit. And so you'd have to like set an alarm for a fucking video game, set an alarm for 2 a.m., wake up.
Oh, yeah.
Get in the fucking chat room, sleepily try to remember what you're supposed to answer. Oh, that was a chore.
Yeah. See, that's not my kind of thing. Like, I don't know. Like, I like being able to play a video game on my own schedule for the most part, except for like a couple gacha games I play. But even those, like, I have trouble playing like regularly. So, yeah.
I don't know. I get really addicted to that kind of stuff sometimes. Like, I was really addicted to Mystic Messenger for a while. I like bought those honey butter chips that are sweet.
Oh
my
nice.
God. They're really actually pretty good. They're very...
I've had them. Yeah, they're really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like surprisingly different taste.
They're very rich though. Like, they're the kind of thing you eat a few and you're like, this is almost too much. I don't know. But they're really good.
Yeah, they're almost like overly sweet or something. Yeah, it's hard to describe.
They're overly buttery. It's like they've literally taken them and soaked them in like liquid fat. Which I guess they literally did. That's what a potato chip is.
Yes.
Joke's on me.
Yep.
All right. So what have you been up to, Leo?
Well, I wish I was locked in my house so I could keep playing a whole lot more Call of Duty Warzone. Mm-hmm. I did manage to get all the attachments for the SMG, the MP7. Great gun. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that gun. And I don't know, just the way I got it set up. It's even good
in Warzone. Like, do you have to like stay inside buildings or like close encounter areas so you don't get like long shotted by snipers and shit?
No, I mean, a sniper can be a problem, but it's rough aiming those a little bit. If like somebody's running, it's pretty hard, but there are people out there who are pretty good. It's not. I think the balance is very well done.
Okay.
Yeah, and the way this SMG MP7 set up is like I got pretty decent medium range on that thing. Like it'll take on almost most other assault rifles. Oh, okay. So and it's but like if they're like in between short and medium range where this thing just sings, I can like mow down entire 3-man teams if they're coming at me single file and not let off the trigger. It's beautiful. Nice. So my next gun is I'm working on the assault rifle, the AK-47. It's got a high TTK. It's ranked roughly kind of 3rd in time to kill. So that's my next one. But they also said they're working on a bunch of new modes. So they're working. So right now they have squads, which is a 3-man team, and then they got solos. Well, they're working on duos. They're working on 4-man teams and 5-man teams, which sounds absolutely insane to me and the guys I'm playing with.
Yeah, we're like, 5-man team sounds crazy. Yeah,
like 3-on-3 gets bad, but now we got 5-on-5, and what the fuck if a third group shows up? It's going to be
kind of chaos.
Yeah. It'll be just flat out chaos. Because like with 3-on-3, you can kind of call out. You're like, oh, we got this guy down by here, and then I can see the other 2 over here. But if it's 5-on-5, it's he's up on that stairs. Which stairs? There's 5 fucking stairs around here, and I see 3 different sets of stairs. Just like it's going to be chaos. And they're also doing some LTMs too. They haven't said what they're going to be, but those will probably be pretty fun. And one of like the really surprisingly fun and destructive things in this game are the vehicles. And they don't even have weapons on them. You can mow down entire squads with those damn things, just running them over. So like there's actually 5 vehicles. So there's the helicopter. You can actually kill people with the blades. Like you can go and skim the ground and like raise the force where the blades are front and just chop through people, which is cool. Jeez. But the smallest vehicle is a 4-wheeler. That one's kind of hard to run people over just because it's a smaller profile, and you're like very exposed on that thing. Somebody can kill you if they just get a couple headshots before you can get to them. The next vehicle is basically like a dune buggy with like a roll cage on top of it. Okay. And that one provides a little bit more cover, but it is super, super fast. The best one to run people over with is the Jeep because it provides very good protections. It's got great speed. But then there's the big ass fucking truck, which is like you're slower, but it's a tank. And it was just really funny. So I was driving the Jeep, and we just did this yesterday, and I had gotten a little bit away from my other two teammates, and they suddenly got attacked. And one of them went down immediately, and the other one's just like hiding cover, just trying to keep their attention. I was next to a Jeep. I got in a Jeep. I flew over there, hit the one guy, and I went to turn to get the other guy, missed. I don't know what the other guy did. He panicked or what, but I was going in reverse and then ran him over in reverse. And we fucking started laughing so hard that their third guy killed the two of us that were still up. But we didn't care. We were still laughing. It was just so fucking funny. But there's just videos of just people just absolutely murdering people because like there'll be like people like let's just say like a shed and somebody will just like fucking ram the vehicle straight through the opening and like take out 3 people at once, and you're just like, God damn.
That's fun.
Yeah, but and that it makes them sound a little bit OP. But if you're using C4, just throw it on the ground and back up, and then when they're coming straight at you, just fucking ignite it whenever they get to you.
Ooh, that's awesome.
We play it with one guy, and he's pretty darn good at it. And the thing is, with the way the radar works, if somebody even gets in a vehicle, it immediately shows red. So you always see the things coming with like plenty of time to pull that off.
Interesting.
But yeah, the vehicles are just one like the funny side things in that one.
Have you had any good luck with the gulag when you die?
Yeah, I think I win those usually more often than not.
Oh, really? Okay. I wondered how that was going. I wondered, like, sometimes if there isn't, like, waiting times and stuff for those.
So, like, the way the gulag works is, like, I explained last time, like, you get the 1v1, and then if you win, you get to come back in. So it loads you in, and somebody's in a match, you're on, it takes place in, like, a prison shower, but you're on a ring outside that, and you can look down into it and watch the people fighting. And these one-on-ones are super quick. In a small arena with the way Call of Duty works, people get killed quick. You start with like, I think there's about 5 different weapons you can start with. You both start with the same one. And then they'll give you like a grenade and like a stun grenade or like a proximity mine or something like that. Those go really quick. But while you're watching them, you can like throw rocks at them and hit them. And if they have only a sliver of health left, you can actually kill them.
Nice.
And then... And like the rocks are really distracting to them because it's like bouncing off and you're like, oh shit, was that the player I hear over there or not? And while it's doing, it has a countdown of which round you are. So you know when you're up, and then it basically when your time's up, it puts you in there immediately. Like I said, the fight's super quick, and then either you win or you lose. But I don't know what I did yesterday. I saved this clip. I completely fucked up. I like fat fingered my proximity mine. So my guy's like doing the animation of the proximity mine, and the dude has me straight in his sights, and I'm like, I'm dead. I won't get this off. He somehow misses, and the proximity mine stays on the ground long enough that it finally explodes and kills him. And I was like, how the fuck did I win that one?
Those are the best.
Yeah, and like I don't know. I feel like the trick to it is to always go left because I feel like most people are right-handed and inherently go right. So when they're opposite sides, they automatically just go to the right. So if I go left, I see them, but I'm already ready. I'm already aiming down the sights, and they come around the corner, and they're like, "Fuck."
Oh,
that's how I've gotten most of my kills. I feel like that has changed a little bit recently. People are learning better.
Yeah.
But even then, yeah, you just like keep your ears open and try to find them as quick as possible.
That's pretty cool.
Because like the time to kill can be almost instantaneous at times if they hit a headshot or something.
Well, that's Call of Duty for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Ready for anime?
Yep.
Yeah, always.
Chihayafuru 3's time to kill on Leo is like 3 seconds into every episode, so it's pretty good. Episode 21
It's
to
no
restore
lie.
my faith.
It's no lie.
So on the train home from the Meijin and Queen tournament, Chihaya, kind of with the help of Kana, comes to the realization that Taichi keeps hiding things, like staying behind at different tournaments and stuff from her, because like it's kind of just who he is as a person. He's always sort of been this way. He's been kind of like a coward, like non-confrontational, but always like trying to like get ahead of people. And she's starting to question like why he is the way he is. Why does he always go off on his own like this?
That's kind of a hard thing to answer. I think people just are the way they are. Like sometimes there's no answers to that stuff.
Yeah, and like
sometimes you either gotta accept things about someone or you don't.
Yes.
And you just don't hang out with them anymore. You know?
Yeah, I think she's starting to come to the realization that she needs to start accepting things about Taichi, or she needs to like talk to him and confront him about it at some point, because she doesn't like it, but it's the way he is. So
yeah.
So yeah, Taichi on his own is like thinking about how the hell he's ever gonna beat Arata, like, or anyone like Suo, and overcome his own flaws in the first place. He's like playing karata on the floor of his hotel room before the tournament the next day. And it turns out he signed up for like 2 separate tournaments on the same day, just in case he wanted to go to either one. Like there's the New Year's tournament back home that the other people are going to, like Chihaya and all them. And then there's the one that's at Omijingu, or near Omijingu Shrine. Like it's called like the Prince Takamatsu Memorial Tournament or whatever. So he decided to go to that one because he was upset with how things went at the Meijin tournament and wanted to be by himself. And so, yeah, I liked the note where it's like, you know, both of these tournaments have like entrance fees, so he's like a fucking rich boy. It's like one of those like little speech bubbles that pops up.
So is he like the Sasuke of this anime now, basically?
He's very much the Sasuke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Every anime has to have one, you know.
As I watch more Naruto and figure out more about what Sasuke is like, it's just such a Taichi. Like, yeah. Oh man.
He's a classic trope. I'm telling you, any anime that you watch, you can find the Sasuke. You can find the Sasuke. I don't know.
Yeah, so Tsukuba also announces, like, I'm gonna win today and move up to Class B so I can become the next president of the Karate Club. And, like, Sumire thinks about that, and she's like, oh, yeah, things are gonna change soon. Like, Taichi's gonna move on, Chihaya's gonna move on, all these people are gonna move on, and, like, she starts to get worried about how the year is gonna end with all the stuff up in the air. Retro-kun is there, too, and he's also, like, planning to try to move up a class to Class A finally. He's going to become the next president at Hokuo Academy, and he kind of feels like really inadequate because he's never made Class A, and so the problem is he and Chihaya are facing these 2 like siblings in their matches, like a brother
assholes.
And a sister. They're such assholes. Yeah, they're both like whiny bitches who like argue like every call, and while Retro gets like really flustered by that, Chihaya, who's like a seasoned competitor, and she's like also watched all of these masters matches at the tournament, she's not even fazed by this. She's like thinking about bigger things, and she's not letting small shit like this bother her anymore, which is a good sign for her. Meanwhile, Taichi and Arata are both playing at the Prince tournament, and Suo shows up just as it's announced that Taichi and Arata are going to face each other in the next match. These guys haven't faced each other for a while, so it's pretty big. But they're both like, before their match starts, they're both feeling kind of embarrassed, and like they can't even like look at each other, or at least Taichi can't.
Yaoi, man. Like he's like
Yeah.
Arata's like blushing every other 30 seconds. I was like, what the fuck's
it's
going
the
on
right
with this
art
show?
style for it. I mean, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like, there's some of that, I guess, when you put it that way. Like,
Bcom's so slow to admit it too. He's like, well, maybe in my favorite show there may be some yaoi. I don't know.
I absolutely admit, like, there are people. I don't know actually if there are a lot of people that ship like Taichi and Arata together. Like, I don't know if that's a thing in the Chihaya community. It must be though.
Oh,
but
there is. I guarantee. There's 2 men in an anime. There's people who ship it.
Okay, fair.
There's absolutely people who ship it. I'm in so many groups on Facebook that would tell you otherwise.
Yeah, like, so Taichi's like feeling really uncomfortable when he sees Arata lay down his cards. He sees that they're in like a really familiar layout, like Arata's layout, which he had practiced emulating Arata in practice. So now he smiles and he's like, oh, I got a chance to beat this guy. And so Taichi playing really hard, like, kind of brings out an uncharacteristically like loud and boisterous side of Arata. Like, he like contests all the cards, and he like gets up and he starts like bumping him and stuff. And Taichi's like trying to play dirty against him, all this stuff. But like Arata just gets pumped up by it, and the part that's yaoi is where he's like, yeah, I can feel my heart growing bigger as the match goes on. Like, so yeah.
It's like, you sure that's your heart that's growing bigger? It's not something further south that's just getting a little bigger as the time
Very
goes on.
aroused by this game. At one point, Taichi asks if Arata told Chihaya something back in the fall, which we know that Arata like confessed to her back then. And Arata admits like, yeah, I did tell her something, and like Taichi sends like the Chihayafuru card across to Arata's side, like kind of symbolically, like I'm gonna take this from you when I get a chance, which was kind of cool. Meanwhile, back at the other tournament, Retrokun lost to that whiny sister and remains in Class B perpetually. And he cries while like Porky's sister comforts him, and he thinks of like Poem 99, which is all about like sadness and loss, and Porky's sister reminds him that like, you know, Poem 100 was written by that emperor's son who wrote Poem 99, and it's all about like the end of noble society. And she's like, and it has nothing to do with you being stuck in Class B, you idiot. So she's like, just get over it. And all the society members or like club members of Retros tell him not to sweat it, because they never expected him to make Class A, and they know he's going to be a good president regardless. So meanwhile, Chihaya moves on, and she beats Pseudo like pretty handily in their next match, which is another sign that she's really moving up in the world of Karata, because like she used to have a lot of trouble facing him, and he kind of admires like her ability to make herself completely empty, as he puts it, like able to absorb things around her and not be fazed by anything anymore. And she's like, oh, thanks, and she like collapses on her face as usual, exhausted from the game. So she wins the Class A tournament, and then at the very end of the episode, we don't even see the rest of the Taichi Arata match. We just see that he lost again, and he's crying on a train home with Suo. Whereas like Murao and Arata placed first and second in that
Was he
tournament.
crying? I thought he was asleep.
He was asleep, but he had like a tear coming out of one of his eyelids. So yeah. What a little bitch. Sorry, like as I watch more and more of this show, I just like, I don't like Taichi as much anymore. Like I always thought he was kind of like a douche, but like a guy who would like eventually come around. But like at this point, I'm just like, I don't know about Taichi. I think he's just kind of an asshole forever.
Well, I mean, that's the way that most of those characters are, too. I mean, Sasuke was always kind of an asshole. Like, he never stopped being an asshole. He literally impregnated some bitch and then was like, bye, see you next decade.
Sakura.
Maybe I'll say hi to my child when they turn 10. Like,
Oh my god.
Sounds like Goku
I mean, that's kind of what he did.
Yeah, it does sound like Goku.
I mean, I think when you're that kind of character, it's just inherent in your genes. You're just an asshole. It was like proclaimed on the day you were born. You just came out and you had like, I'm going to be an asshole written on your forehead.
It was really fun to see him play Arata, though. I hope we get another big match with them sometime in the future of this story, because, yeah, it's always fun when they play against each other, because there's so much at stake, kind of, in the narrative of the show, and just, like, in their own egos and everything. Like
Emotionally, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on.
All right, keep your hands off Eizouken. This title makes a lot more sense to me this episode.
Yeah. Because I always wondered why they called it that, because I'm like, this is dumb.
Yeah, now you kind of see it's Sayaka basically protecting their studio, Eizouken. So,
Yes.
That's pretty cool. Episode name 9, Aim for Comet A.
Comic.
Sayaka, yeah. Sayaka has to go before the student council because they found out the Sound Club is selling their music online and making a pretty good profit. But also some of that profit is also going to the Eizouken Club because they're housing them. Darn. They end up getting a ton of requests from other clubs after the festival, but Sayaka refuses them all. And that would be because they only made like $180 at the festival.
Holy shit, that's so little.
Yeah.
Well,
because,
okay, but for high schoolers, when I was in high school, if I made $180, I might have been a little excited by that.
Well, here's the thing.
That's a lot of work, though. I don't know.
The Robot Club, because they asked for it, they own the rights to it. So that's why they got a huge part, and then Eizouken only got like a small cut.
I think the Robot Club got something like $500 or maybe a little bit more. I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, and Sayaka says they actually did enough work that they should have earned $16,000.
That's bullshit. I don't think they did that much work that they should have gotten $16,000 because I'm
They
just
worked
like
for like an entire month, like kind of like flat out. Like if they were working real jobs.
Do you make $16,000 at your job for an entire month, Bcom?
Well, here's the thing: animators in the anime industry definitely don't. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a bullshit figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to make some of that money back, they decided to go to Kama-A to sell their DVDs off. And also, since they aren't in the school grounds, they can't take a profit. That never happens this episode. That's just like gets forgotten.
Oh, not yet. That's yeah. I think that's going to happen later. Yeah.
Yeah, so the three wander the streets, and of course, you know that our two weirdo-brained girls, Tsubame and Midori, of course, daydream all the way there. Weird shit happens.
So, okay, is this a different ramen shop that they go to than the one they were at before? Because I was confused. I thought it was the same one at first.
Oh, okay.
Nope, totally different.
Okay.
No, they got this like weird fruit ramen. Yeah.
Yeah, so to escape the heat, they eventually go to an underground shopping district, and that's when Sayaka takes them to a fruit ramen shop, whose owner is a pretty big fan of them.
Fruit ramen.
Well, we talk about pineapple on pizza, but now we're like pineapple and ramen. Or specifically,
it basically
like pineapple
is the
with
pineapple
like
pizza
noodles.
of ramen. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
Well, Kanamori makes this whole like big point about how like you can have it, but you have to balance it well. Like you have to balance the sweet with the salty. And it seems like she's making a bigger point about like what's going to happen with like the anime that we're producing next. I think anyway, that's like my theory. Because like obviously, as we've watched the arcs of this show, everything that the characters talk about in the episodes leading up to the big project they're working on matters. Like it all is going to come to play.
She basically made a big metaphor about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we'll see how that fits in.
They start walking back, and Sayaka shows them the social media she's been working on for their studio. She's still smartly using Tsubame's popularity she has with the fashion whatever to help, keep them boosted and get lots of followers. She's also shows them that there's also a demand for more merchandise, and this further proves they need to make more money because, you got to pay to get that made first.
If people want t-shirts, then you should make t-shirts so you get money. Yeah,
exactly. Like she says, they could bust their ass making more anime and sell it for like the same price as a fucking t-shirt, or they could just make t-shirts. So it's like that's why merch is so important, because it's like so easy to produce, and you sell it for almost as much money as the damn anime which you bust your ass to create.
Well, but it's just an extension of what you've already created. Yeah, it's an extension of the work that you've already. Yeah.
You have to capitalize on that work, and you have to do it in these extra ways, like by pushing social media and pushing merch, and
yeah, exactly.
So then finally we get the big reveal of where this drive from Sayaka comes from with money and trying to keep things going. Apparently she had some relatives, like it was like an aunt and uncle, I think, who ran a liquor store that prides itself in like brewing high quality sake. The locals didn't care too much for it because they would just rather get hammered at a low price.
See, to me, this was so like, because when I'm really into anything, I don't care what it is, tea, whatever, I'm like, oh yeah, I want the high quality, like I want to focus in on this, and like I would be a terrible business owner because I'd be in the corner like, no, but the high quality, and they'd be like, shut up, give us more booze.
And that's why you can't own a liquor brewery, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
Other things also didn't help. Society advanced, and things like monorails and such being built decreased foot traffic for the store. And probably like big business probably didn't help either. They just didn't say it. It got to the point where eventually it had to constantly evolve its business so much that it essentially just became a general store in the end. And also like little mini Sayaka, as they call her. Oh, they call her Mini
Mori. Mini Mori,
yeah. Mini Mori. Little Sayaka would also help out the store as a little kid because she heard you can't live off your pension anymore, so she wanted to make money as soon as possible.
Started real early.
She's like, no, I don't want to be in my old age regretting this.
Yeah. One day she comes to the store during a snowstorm and it's closed. She convinces her relatives to open it since everybody else is closed and they would be the only ones making money. She's also like, I saw some footprints out front, so people have been stopping by just to see if you're open. And then like her uncle or somebody marvels that she had the good sense to shovel in front of the vending machine first because it sells hot drinks. But then they're like, too bad she's bad at math. It's like, I think that eventually changed. She got it figured out.
Well, she was too young. Like, who's good at math when they're like 5?
True.
You know?
He does say that, like, even if you're good at math, like, if you don't have the business sense, it doesn't matter. Like, so she's got the important part. She can figure out the math.
She's got the business sense,
Yes.
The relatives can't tip her, so they give her a box of random stuff she can sell herself, and they're like, yeah, you keep profits for yourself. She like ends up selling a pair of gloves to a guy, and like even sells some cup of ramen to like a bunch of people that were out helping people stuck in the snow, and they're like super grateful about it. And like they're like, man, I'm gonna come back every week now. But then like her uncle's like, this is like the last month the store's open, we're closing. And that basically just like shell shocks her for a moment.
Oh, I know. She's like, but you could get customers. Why are you closing? Like her mind was just blown.
Like I said, so this is where her drive to not allow Eizouken to not go under and all her planning and desperation to obtain money and not to be forgotten, basically. All came from like this experience when she was like a 5 or 8 year old.
Yeah.
And they start to plan their next anime. Midori has the idea to like use the whole town as a setting this time. The student council also start taking that rent money that she was getting from the sound club to them. I don't know whatever they're doing with it, being greedy. But Sayaka's not worried because she just got confirmation that the Shibihama Chamber of Commerce is going to completely fund their anime. Apparently, she got some help from the Fruit Noodle guy who has been like running some revitalizing projects for the area. And so she went out and she basically pitched a promotional anime for the area. And in her words were, they ate it up.
Well, okay, but like, what does she mean by completely funded? So I doubt that they're going to be giving them $16,000 for this anime.
No, but probably the money that they do need, which will be less, like they could cover, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much they're going to get. Yeah.
I wish they had been a little more specific there with like how much they're getting and everything, because you get the nitty gritty of the business so much now with this, and I really like that part of the anime the most. I really wish they'd been like, yeah, they told us they would agree to this, and like, you know what I mean?
I'm also interested to see if like the Chamber of Commerce now has input on what goes into this anime. If it makes the Shibahama look bad, then maybe they're going to have to like cut some stuff out of the anime or change some things. I think that could be a problem. Because like as soon as you are funded by somebody else, you have to start being accountable to them and what they want.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that'll be interesting for sure.
The girls finish out the episode working on the anime some more. Midori is like adamant that the laser can has an invisible projectile because science, I guess. And she also realizes what they have been doing is like a performance the whole time. She has a whole thing about that. And Domeki also makes some like cool sounds for like the laser cannon as it, like after it fires and it like powers down or something like that. I really liked it. But
yeah, that whole last part of the episode with Midori, like I thought it was interesting how she realized like, oh, everything I've been doing is performance, but it was like also kind of the same realization that Tsubame already had about her like acting transforming into animation. So I was hoping that Midori would have like a slightly different type of realization. I mean, it's still interesting, but it just felt kind of samey with the last arc for me. So I was just like, I was like, this is interesting, I guess, but I'm waiting to see how it plays out in a bigger way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I was really happy to get Kanamori's backstory episode. We've been kind of asking that for a couple episodes now. Asking for that, or at least I had been. I was like, I really want to see.
Yeah, no, I liked it a lot. I didn't. It wasn't as personal as some of the other backstories were, which was a little annoying to me. But I liked even getting something for her because she's my favorite character of all of them. So
yeah. She at least makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, it wasn't as like touching or anything as like Tsubame's backstory, but it makes sense for her.
A really good job of saying why she is the way she is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that point got across. A+ for that part.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. All right. We'll move on.
Okay. So, ID invaded. Leo.
Every time.
Yes. Are you even going to say it? Are you even going to say it, Leo?
I've lost faith in you, Kat.
You never lose faith in me. What are you talking about? Okay. So this episode's called Inside Outed, which is kind of cute if you think about it.
Yes, clever title.
Yeah. So Sakaido wakes up inside this well within a well, which is an interesting concept in and of itself. So he wakes up and his family is still alive and everything is as if his daughter never got kidnapped. All that shit never happened.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, immediately, I'm like, so he's just going to try and stay here, right?
Yeah, right?
That would be, like, ideal. It's really just like a normal world. There's no, like, murder to solve or anything, like a normal well. So it's obviously, I don't really feel like it would be based on someone's psychology.
It's like basically a recreation, like a couple days before his family gets murdered.
Yeah, it's not really a well at all, because a well is like someone's inner psychology. So, and this doesn't have any of that. So it's not really a well. It's something, though. It's interesting.
I thought it was pretty moving when he thought he only had like 2 minutes left until the guy on the outside was going to eject him. And he like ran to his wife and daughter and like hugged them like one last time. And then he was like, oh, the time works differently down here. But it was really moving to like see him like run and just try and get one last moment with them. Yeah,
it was really touching in a way. But yeah, so he's still investigating the Challenger case. So we're going way back. And he's working with Momoki because I guess he used to work with him on the outside before he, killed his daughter's killer and all of that. Mm-hmm. So to avoid the serial killer kidnapping his daughter, he just goes to this dude's house and is like, I challenge you, Challenger. Just sort of like cut out all that middle shit. He's like, well, before I had to, like shoot you before the cops came and like my daughter was already dead and all this. So like, we're just going to avoid all of that. I'm just going to go to your house, be like, all right, let's get this over with now. My daughter doesn't die. Maybe I live, maybe not. But hey, my daughter's not dead. So, and this fight is really vicious. Like,
yeah.
There's lots of bone breaking and
I know.
Yeah,
it's
seeing the bone break, like as he breaks his arm and his elbow pops out the opposite way, like holy crap.
Yeah, no, the elbow break with like the bone sticking out was nasty. I feel like this though, like this is what the Challenger always wanted, because there's a point later in the episode where Kiki brings up that like really what he wanted was also to be hit.
Yeah, he liked being hurt too.
Yeah. So Sakaido does keep it even though, because he keeps shooting him, even as like he tries to like get him in different wrestling holds and like break his bones and all this shit. Which that really is what saved him, because I don't feel like Sakaido could have taken him down without the gun. Do you guys? I don't think so, because he's really...
No, I don't think so. That guy was fucking jacked.
Yeah, that guy was
a
like...
human specimen. Yeah.
Athletic. Fucking athletic. So
I'm all about this life. That's the Challenger's motto.
he reminded me of... who's that guy in Full Metal Alchemist with the blonde hair?
The
bodybuilder dude.
Oh my god, why am I blanking?
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Armstrong.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Alex
this guy...
Armstrong.
This guy is all like lean muscle though.
Well,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and even the music in the background, like what was that? Like break everything down, and they're like playing it. Is that an actual song? Yeah.
And what was the insert song? I guess made for this anime. Yeah.
Was it really made for it? Because it was a decent song, and I was just like, damn.
Yeah, I don't know if it was another Miyavi song or not. Like, I know Miyavi's been doing music for this anime, but I'm not sure if that song in particular was one of his. So, yeah.
Yeah, I also thought for sure that Sakaido was done when he get like fucking decked in the head, like in the middle of the forehead, like over and over.
There was like, a couple times where like I'm like, he's out of this fight, right? And then he'd get back up.
I'd be like, how are you conscious after that? I'd be like, come on. It was interesting. But yeah, so they finally do, like he wins. Finally, it goes on way too long, but he does win. Momoki runs in conveniently right after he fucking takes him down. I'm like, you couldn't come in before and help, like before he had a concussion?
There's a long way around back. I don't know.
I guess, because that took like at least 5 minutes for that fight to play out. And they go downstairs and save the victim, Kiki before she gets like as hurt as she does in the original. And Sakaido visits her in the hospital. So as he visits her in the hospital, after everything is over, Sakaido has this like weird flash of himself as Kiki, being told that this isn't a dream this time, and she has to hit him, like him being the challenger, or she'll get hurt. And what you find out is basically that like Kiki has this weird power where she can project her thoughts and like her memories onto people, like they broadcast around her, which is really weird. And so are you guys thinking that she is the source of the Idwells? Like that's how they made them, is with her somehow?
Yeah, I feel like they harnessed her ability for like to create the whole Mizu Haname system. Like I
and that's
guess
why she's in all of them. That would make sense.
You're saying her body's in a vat somewhere, probably?
Yeah, or like in a chair or something, like, and they feed her the cognition particles that they find at like the crime scenes, and then like she broadcasts that serial killer's mind, and then another serial killer dives in and is the detective and has to figure it out. That makes
sense. Well, and especially since she says in one offhand comment, like, oh, most people, once they feel pain, they can wake up, but I have to die to wake up. And she's always dead in whatever Idwell there is. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, I don't know. So the face guy, the face serial killer, I guess he's called the face lifter. Yeah. Just comes in at this point and is like, woo, 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 and like whistling. like what the fuck? And it's just like, oh, this nurse in the hallway gonna take off his face. Just like takes his fucking face off. And then I guess it's like his turn. So you find out basically that every night she gets like killed in her dreams by a different serial killer.
That would suck.
That would suck.
Yeah.
And that's why he's so casual about it, and she's so casual about it when he walks in. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, this is a weird thing. I found this episode really interesting, but things like this would weird me out because I'd just be like, what is happening? This makes no sense. Are they going to tell us more? I don't fucking know. I understand they only have 3 more episodes after this one, but they kind of threw a lot at you at once here.
Yeah. No, actually, they have 4 more episodes. I think it went 13.
It's 13. Sure. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. So basically, this guy comes in. Sakaido's like, "Fuck no, you're not going to kill her tonight," and like, you know,
kills him with off. Like his IV stand or something.
Yeah, and then he wakes up with his family, and like basically no time has actually happened, and that didn't actually happen. He was just in her dream too, which also doesn't make sense. There's
so he was like in another world again. It was like 3 deep at this point. I guess
this is like Inception. Is Inception the anime?
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess. But yeah, so basically he visits Kiki again, but like in real life this time, and she's like, "I remember the dream. Yes, you were here before." And he's like, "Ha, it wasn't a dream, but it was." And apparently, she explains like, "Yeah, I've been dealing with these dreams for years. Sucks being psychic or whatever." She doesn't say that, but I mean,
the gist of it, basically, yeah.
Yeah. And at first there was only one killer, and then he like started to make more, which is just weird to me. Like, what the fuck is he doing to these people to make them?
I don't know. I think we're getting a little closer to finding out who or what this John Walker is.
Yeah, we're getting closer for sure.
Like, I have a theory now about him, like, that I feel like John Walker's going to make this argument that what he's doing is, like, a moral thing, because he's getting, like, serial killers to kill a girl who's, like, dead, basically, instead of killing real people. Like, I think that's what the argument he's going to try to make, but, like, I don't know.
He's also making more serial killers.
Yeah, like, so at the same time, I think that argument falls apart, like, immediately. Yeah. So I'm not sure.
I don't know. But yeah, so anyway, Sakaido visits the face killer before he actually killed anyone in real life. So like he's just basically thinking about killing people, I guess, like wondering about it, having these dreams where he skins people's faces off them. And there's like this whole dramatic scene where Sakaido's like, we're going to have a long talk about why you don't pull your own face off and why you want to pull people's faces off and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, okay, but you're in a wheelchair, so at any moment, this guy could just kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
but Sakaido's really good at talking people into killing themselves.
Oh, that is true. I didn't think about that because I was just
Yeah.
like, why is he talking shit to this dude? This dude could literally lift this guy's wheelchair above his hand at any time and just hit it, like throw him.
You can also see that the dude is really freaked out about how much Sakaido knows about him. He's like, how do you know all this stuff? How do you know all my inner thoughts? What the fuck is going on here? So, yeah.
That makes some sense because you find
Yeah.
out later
They were in
that
prison.
he basically he gets this guy to kill himself like before.
Yeah, he hangs himself.
Yeah. Which makes a lot of sense to, he's had a lot of experience getting people to kill themselves and all of that psychologically, but it just was so weird to me. I'm like, but you're in a wheelchair, you're helpless. It was interesting. And then at one point he's back with his wife and he wakes up and she's with him and he's had a dream that she killed herself by like slitting her wrist in the tub. And I almost wonder if that's what happened in real life. Like his daughter died and then his wife just killed herself. And that's why it's so vivid.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't even know if it's even
I don't think they've told us.
talked about it. Yeah.
I mean, they talk about how his daughter died in real life from, getting killed by the Challenger, but I don't think they ever talked about what happened to his wife. But they also haven't shown his wife, so it's very possible that that's actually what she did. Which is even more fucked up if you think about it, because then she's like, don't worry, I would never die. I would never leave you. And you're just like, oh, but you did.
But you did. Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
was
I
a
feel
really good episode, and I feel like it's just kind of, it'll either tie itself up in a really good knot in the next few episodes, or it'll just collapse in on itself.
I'm pretty optimistic that it's going to tie in because this director is really good, and I just it's been well written up to this point.
Yeah.
It's hard to
9
imagine it
episode
fucking
deep.
it up completely.
Yeah, 9 episodes deep already, and it's still holding on really well. Yeah, I feel confident with it too. I'm just sad it's not as popular as the Inspector show.
Yeah, which Inspector, man, I'm still I don't understand why that show's so popular. Actually, I do understand why that show's so popular,
I could tell you.
but it's dumb. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I don't like about this series is they're not very sophisticated with their animation. And so especially some of the women characters look very similar. And so sometimes, like, for instance, the suicide scene in the tub, for a second, I was like, who is killing themselves here? Is this
I did
Kiki?
too.
Is
I
this his
did
wife?
that. I saw that, and I was like, who is this? I was confused.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that that's really just a fault of all of their female characters look very similar. And if you
True.
take them out of their clothes, which she was in the tub,
Yeah,
you're
Serena
suddenly
is
like,
kind of
I
the
don't
only
know.
one that doesn't look as similar as the rest.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
really just her hair.
Yeah, it's mostly her hair.
Yeah.
They need to be a little more sophisticated in how they're animating, especially women in the series. That's my only criticism.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Oh, and the fact that they literally shot a bullet through a hole in someone's fucking skull. I will never forget that, and that is not okay.
That was good times.
Such a literally a plot hole, so to speak.
Oh man.
No, I still remember seeing that scene and in my head I went, oh, of course they did that. Like, why would you pass this opportunity up? Was like how I saw it.
Oh, I was just like, no, you can't, and they did. So.
You're going to make sense of the next show, Bcom?
Yeah, Dorohedoro, episode 9. I had to
How
rewatch
many
this episode.
How many times did you rewind it though? As you were
I
watching?
certain scenes I rewound like a bunch of times because I was just, especially near the end of this episode, because I was just like confused by certain things. I'm still kind of confused. I'll be asking some questions, I feel like. So
Cool.
yeah, at the beginning of this episode, the Blue Night begins, where people find their partners, the sorcerers. Kaiman immediately quits his like janitor job at like Tamba's restaurant or whatever, and decides he needs to get back to finding Risu. So he like runs out. Shin, meanwhile, starts getting sniped at with these like syringe bullets by this dude named Yaku, who we'll find out more about in a bit, kind of. And he like the sniper like sort of like corrals him into this ballroom and then shoots down a chandelier that has a bunch of these syringes hanging from it, and it lands on Shin. And so, meanwhile, Fujita asks En to tell him the story of how Shin and Noi met back in the day. So back then, En was expanding his ramen chain called Flower Smoke, which
is a bizarre name for a restaurant. Who's like, what hippie is like, you know what I should name my restaurant? Flower Smoke. Like, that sounds like a place you buy weed. Doesn't that sound like a weed place?
Oh, yeah,
Flower
absolutely.
Smoke.
That
sounds like a head
weed
shop.
That sounds like a weed dispensary, for sure.
Yeah, he sounds like...
Of course it's ramen.
It's like
it
mushroom
has to be ramen.
Yeah, especially.
Well, like, what does ramen have to do with smoke? It makes no sense at all.
Also, the best dish at his ramen place is like a soba dish. It's not even ramen noodles, it's soba noodles. It's kind of weird. Yeah, and like Shin dines and dashes on this restaurant way back in the day, and Noi, who's wearing like a full suit of knight armor back then, catches him, but then like gets distracted because he like if you remember, he has rotting arms that are like dead weight, and so she decides like she can't let this stand. She like heals his arms like with her magic.
I don't think it was so they could fight properly. I think it was more just because she's like, oh, but it hurts something in me to see you with rotting arm.
Yeah, I had said it's like so they could fight, but like, yeah, I think you're more right that it's just like Noi sees somebody injured and she's like, I can help this person. And so as soon as he gets his arm back, he hits her over the head with a hammer and knocks her out. And then promises to like pay her back someday.
Which she never will. Well, okay, maybe later, a little bit, but never with money for the food that he ate. Let's put it that way.
Shortly after, Shin decided to start working for En as a cleaner. And at that time, Noi was in the final stages of her training to become a devil. She was doing some crazy shit, like carrying devil bats up like huge church walls to get to like fruit hanging from a tree to feed to this devil bat. This world is so weird.
So apparently you study for a year to be a devil, and you grow horns gradually over the course of your training, but you can't use magic while you're training?
Yeah.
At her last part, she can't use magic for the last year.
The last entire year, yeah. She can't use any magic. Shin like meets up with her at like Flower Smoke, I guess, and she told him she was like continuing this training until the next blue night. And her like devil instructor, I guess, tells her that, yeah, you can't use magic for a full year.
I would also say little Noi is like, she's like almost petite compared to like what she is like currently in the show.
Well,
it's just like
Shin
crazy.
Also grows a lot. Like Shin as a kid versus Shin as an adult is so different.
Yeah.
I really liked their character designs as like teenagers. I thought they were like really interesting and different looking than a lot of other anime.
I agree. I like them really better as teenagers.
Yeah. 3 days before the time is up when like Noi's gonna finish her training, she's even starting to look like a devil. She's like sprouted little devil horns and like a little devil tail. Shin reminds her that like once she becomes a devil, they won't be able to see each other anymore, which is interesting. And just then, Yaku, the guy who attacked Shin back in the future, and his companion Baku, wow, so well named, these guys, attack Shin and Noi.
Yaku and Baku.
Yeah, Bakugo from My Hero Academia uses his fire magic to blow up the flower shop. And yeah, they're apparently targeting these two for Blue Knight, trying to like get them to drop out and like sign contracts with them or whatever.
We still never find out what is the advantage to having a contract with somebody.
No, we still don't really know.
Yeah, they're showing us things gradually, but yeah, it's frustrating. You have to sort of figure out stuff as you go.
Yeah. And like, so Noi decides to fight, though she doesn't use magic at first. Instead, just like using her crazy strength to like crush Baku's head with a huge boulder. And then like Shin makes quick work of Yaku by like just fucking disintegrating him from behind. And so you would think Yaku's dead, but he's alive in the future, it seems. So I don't know. That was weird. I didn't really understand that. That's one of the parts I rewound a couple times because I was like, wait, why is Yaku dead? But then he comes back. Baku, who had been hit by the boulder, was not totally dead, and he got one of his blasts off, which tore Shin in half. And then he tells Noi, like, he paid her back for healing his arms by saving her life here from that blast. And at that point, Noi makes the decision that she's going to use magic to break her devil training pact. And so she heals Shin, and she decides to, instead of becoming a devil, she becomes a cleaner for N, and for Shin's uncle, new partner. Yeah. And N's like, you guys should sign a contract, and so they do.
I mean, in the end, though, they get to see each other. Apparently, they were never going to see each other again, so...
Yeah.
If this whole partners thing is romantic, which I still am not clear on.
I don't think it's a romantic thing.
Well,
but also I don't see any of them having romantic relationships outside of this.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's part of it. I really don't know. They haven't told us, but
romance doesn't exist in this world.
Oh, it does. It exists in every world.
In the end, like that flower smoke chain, I like laughed because they shut down because the mushrooms were like poisoning people in the fucking ramen, which makes sense. There is some romance at the end of this episode, kind of. So I'll get there. So back to real time. Shin got knocked unconscious by the drugs in those syringes from the chandelier. He gets put in the body bag, gets taken away, presumably by Yaku. I think that's Yaku anyway. He looks exactly the same. No, it is Yaku. We find out later in the episode.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't understand why he was still alive. I don't know. I guess he was healed somehow.
He just is. Accept it.
Yeah, it's so weird. Meanwhile, Tamba finds Kaiman and kicks his ass for like leaving the shop unattended. But Fukuyama is like nicer to him though and gives him some money to go get food at the Blue Night Festival. And he goes, and like Baku is alive also, and he and Yaku end up fighting Kaiman and Tamba at the festival. But Fukuyama like literally turns Yaku into like a fucking meat pie.
Speaking of meat pies, I watched Sweeney Todd again the other day for some random reason. I don't know why. It was just on Netflix. Or
really?
I don't remember if it was Netflix.
Oh my god!
And then I see meat pie on here, and I'm like, God damn it! Well, Kaiman fights him because they knocked the food out of his hands. He's like, "My gyoza!" Gets her ass.
Gyoza was gigantic too. I'm just like, who makes a gyoza that big? Would that even be feasible to cook one that big?
I guess you could. You need like a lot of dough to like hold it together. Yeah.
Didn't Ibisu start eating on the fucking?
Yes.
Or is that later on?
Yeah,
Later
basically the fucking
That's
cannibal.
later.
He eats the meat pie that's really a person.
No, Ibisu's a she. Or actually,
yeah, she.
I think
Yeah,
Ibisu is. Oh,
she is. She's a she.
Yeah.
Androgynous. Sorry.
Well, she's a little bit androgynous, but yeah.
I guess.
Her description says androgynous, but like I kind of see her as female too. Yeah.
No,
Well,
too,
I mean, she did have fake boobs under her dress.
Yeah, which she lost in this episode was like searching for them. Yeah, like the other part of the end of this episode is like Fujita's like person who was supposed to show up to be maybe make a contract with him like has not shown up. And like Kaiman actually like walks past Risu on the street at one point and they just like look at each other and then keep going because I guess Kaiman's like carrying things for Tamba so he doesn't want to like do anything about it at that point in time, but it was also kind of frustrating because like he's been searching for this dude this whole time and like, I don't know. It's just annoying that they just walk past.
Risu had a mask on, didn't he?
Yeah, but I think they could still see each other's eyes with the crosses. So they look at each other for like a pretty long time. I'm like,
Well, something distracts Kaiman, which is what happens, right?
Yeah, it's like Tamba's like, hey, come on, you're carrying like some shit back to the shop or whatever. Yeah, so like Risu like wanders into this like smoke like warehouse or something because he's gonna get some smoke to power himself up, and then he opens a locker and it's where Noi was shoved in like rotting and dying, and like she is able to heal herself when he opens the locker door. I guess she's like Noi is back, which is pretty cool. But yeah, like Noi also now has like a dog called Gura Gura, like a
That
fucking
dog is
Doberman
weird.
Pinscher or something.
It's Shin's dog.
Oh, is that Shin's dog? Okay,
Yes, it's
Yeah.
Shin's dog. Yeah.
And yeah, so they find the meat pie that Fukuyama made out of like Yaku, and Ebisu is there, and her and the dog start eating this meat pie.
Doesn't Noi say like, "Don't blame me if your stomach hurts after you eat something on the ground"? And I'm just like,
Yikes! Cannibalism! Woo! Yeah, Noi finds Shin asleep in like a body bag near that meat pie, and yeah, and then okay, the final like the romantic part is we find out that Ebisu was the person who sent the application to make a contract with Fujita. And, like, the only other person who made an application was, like, Fujita himself, so he wouldn't be embarrassed and get none. And, like, I like how Noi takes Ebisu's mask off to see if she's serious about becoming Fujita's partner, and she's, like, blushing and stuff, which is cute.
it is cute.
Yeah, the whole end of the episode is just, like, end minions figure out that Nikaido was the one in the security footage when she killed that, like, smoke shop vendor a few episodes back. And he puts it together that she's like the sorcerer who can control time. And he's been in a room with her before when he used his magic. So like he takes like one of his things and like makes a fucking doll out of it that's in her image. And then like
I think I ruined it last episode with revealing that. But
oh really? Well,
I think they make that connection. I think we make that connection, but then like it's not till this episode till he gets like the footage and he's like, that's her.
Yeah, like you definitely made the connection earlier than he did, at least. Yeah, for sure. Like I think it was possible to figure out by then, but yeah,
because I'm pretty sure it says the person who killed the shop owner from the shop you bought has time magic, and that immediately we know Nikaido did it.
Yeah,
and didn't know Nikaido did it at the time, so yeah, that tells us immediately it was Nikaido. But then this episode, he finds out, he finally gets the visual footage he was looking for. So yeah.
Yeah, and so he like uses some crazy mushroom magic on this like voodoo doll.
Oh my fucking god! If you walked in and someone's head was just completely like covered in mushrooms like that,
It wasn't
what
just,
the fuck?
it wasn't his head, it was his face.
His face.
Fucking
His
face.
face.
Oh, that was disturbing. Like the whole head's bad, but just the face is somehow worse. I don't know why. Ugh.
Me seeing that made me really want to play The Last of Us Part 2 because that's like the design of the like infected in like The Last of Us 2, and yeah, it's so cool. It is really unsettling. But yeah, he can like spy on Nikaido. He like makes a mushroom burst out of her back again somehow. I guess he has like control over, or like a somewhat control over her now because he's used his magic.
Something like, yeah, she's been infected by his magic before, so a little bit lingers that he can control or something. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, and so he's on to her, and so like yeah, it's gonna get real rough for Nikaido soon, probably.
Yeah, makes sense.
I like the backstory we got on Noi and Shin, because like I was kind of curious, but like not curious enough to voice it, and then just to finally get it and get it out of the way, it's like kind of satisfying, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is, and it was a good backstory too, not some like half-assed thing.
I was like finding myself like slightly frustrated with how this like anime is like kind of divided up by, it seems like manga chapters like in each episode, where I wish it was just like a little bit more natural and like they just like went into flashbacks when they needed to, and they didn't just have like, oh, this part of the episode is called Awesome Meat Pie, and like this part is called Macabre Mushroom. But I don't know, like it seems like it's more segmented than it needs to be, but it doesn't take that much away from the show. It's just like not my style. That's not how I would have done this if I was adapting it, basically. I don't know.
Well, once you start adapting anime Bcom, I'm sure we will.
Absolutely. Oh, all right. Well, I'll take a break to think about the anime I want to adapt, and we'll be back after some brief messages.
Yes, after these messages. Bye.
See you. Hey, dude, you into anime, manga, and all that radical stuff?
Oh, yeah, man. It's tubular.
Then you should totally check out the...
This transmission has been hacked. If you want discussions, debate, reviews, and all in between, you must listen to the Anime Radicals Network at www.animeradicals.com. There's timely reviews, revolutions, mecha, and much more. Find it on iTunes, Google Podcasts, and all podcast catchers. The Anime Radicals Network.
The revolution will be simulcast. Hi, I'm JD, your host of the Red Leaf Retrocast, your best location to learn, remember, and relive the past to the present. Our podcast has 4 shows for you to listen to between retro gaming, modern gaming, anime, and even wrestling. The Retro Gaming Cast covers discussion topics, and each episode we discuss retro games picked based on a decided theme for that episode, ranging from space all the way to console specials like the old handheld Game Boy. Our Modern Gaming Cast is monthly and covers video game titles that were released in that previous month. Each anime cast, we focus to review a retro anime each and every episode, like the original Mobile Suit Gundam to the racing hit Initial D. But that's not all. We also keep up with the seasonal shows, by occasionally doing impressions and reviews as well. Finally, our last show is about wrestling, where we keep the rising indie scene up to date, while also covering shows from the bigger promotions like Ring of Honor, New Japan, and WWE, so we cover it all. We also cover a retired wrestler every episode in what we call the Wrestler Spotlight, and are currently on a quest covering old WCW Thunder episodes from the late 90s, every cast. So if any one of those casts sound like something you'd like to check out, that's the Red Leaf Retrocast, Gaming, Anime, and Wrestling, found at iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, and all your favorite podcasting sites. Also, you can learn, remember, and relive the past to the present. We can't wait to see you soon.
And we're back to talk about animal suicide.
Woo! Seton Academy.
Yeah.
You guys
always interesting with Seton Academy.
You guys have, like me, have you guys been finding you just randomly doing that on your own, just going?
No, I have not.
No,
found myself
no one
doing
is
that.
going.
I am.
Just randomly.
I'm just going randomly on my own.
Nice.
Episode 9, Legends of Animal Ecology. So the first thing I noticed is Mewby's segue has disappeared. Okay, I don't know what they did with
It
that.
just seems like it's just because it's more comical, just
Yeah,
see her die.
'cause I think like a later in the show, there's just a random scene. They're going down like the hallway, and they got her like in a rolling suitcase or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Jen's gonna take like Miyubi to her next class because she moves super slow to cooking club or whatever, and carry her on her back. And then like May's like, I want it too. And then of course Ronka's like, you can't do it without me. And he's like, fuck all of you. And then like some random girl shows up and sort of like freaks out after meeting May and like bangs her head against the wall until she passes out. So the girl was a Tarsier. Is that how you say it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Tarsier.
And what Tarsiers do when they feel stressed is they commit suicide by banging their heads against trees.
Which is apparently a real thing.
Yeah, you looked into this. What did you find out, Bcom?
Well, I found this, I went to, the Wikipedia article like I usually do, and I looked into that, and it was like, yeah, there's a section about, they've been known under stressful conditions to do this, and I was looking into, the underlying, articles that or journal studies or whatever that talk about this, and one of them was, a National Geographic article about, tarsiers kept in captivity in the Philippines, and how they were kept in these, little roadside cages, and so people would come up to them, bang on the cages and snap pictures, and the fucking tarsiers would get so stressed out that they fucking kill themselves. And so, yeah, it's not good.
It seems like they're very sensitive to a lot of things, though. They're sensitive to daylight, sounds, motion.
Yeah.
They're basically just sensitive to life. So I'm not really surprised that they're almost extinct. It just seems sort of like, oh, well, this is the natural way that it would go.
Yeah, they need a lot of extra tender care and loving to survive, it seems like.
Yeah, also they're so delicate that hitting their own head against something could just crack their skull right open. I mean, I don't know if that's our fault really on that one.
Yeah, who knows? So Jen ends up telling May that her mere presence causes stress, and she kind of takes that to heart. And then the Tarsier sees May again at gym class, and May goes after her, and Tarzan, apparently they can jump like 25 times their height. Jumps like straight up into the air and comes crashing back down basically on the back of her neck. So her head snapped. And then like Miyubi finally comes out and she's like, I think the Tarsier gets stressed from being so happy to meet Mei Mei. And for some reason I made this weird comparison between Miyubi and a character in Black Clover, because Miyubi, she talks slow, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She'll say something like oh, I just hear Miyubi thinks that the Tarsier got stressed. But there is a guy in Black Clover, I can't think of his name. He literally talks like this. Jesus Christ. Miyubi thinks that you're just sitting here like, get the fucking sentence out of your mouth. God, it's
hit the 2x speed button on your player.
Basically, I don't get it. It made me think of that, and I was like, okay, you can do talking slow right. That is not right. So this, of course, makes like Mei Mei bound and determined to make the Tarsier, who we find out is Kagami, her friend, and prove Jin is wrong. And then like they just like do a couple things where they try different scenarios to get her to be more comfortable around Mei Mei, and like she hands like Miyubi something, and then Miyubi takes it and gives it to Mei Mei. I mean, yeah, no, I mean fucking Monaco. What the fuck her name is?
Well, Kagami Monaco is her name. So Kagami is right. Is her first name.
It's like a swimsuit catalog of Mei Mei, and she like hits her head against the walls again. And then she's like even talking to her through cups with a string, and she still fucking does it again. And then Bcom got super excited at this part where she's wearing like a sash that says "Conquer Instincts," and she freaks out and headbutts the closest thing next to her, which is Miyubi.
Just like everything about that scene was really funny to me. Like everything. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, finally, she is comfortable enough around Mei Mei when she wears a panda ski mask. She looks like a little robber. And
that just looks weird as fuck.
Yeah, Kagami is very happy. Everybody has like accepted her into the cooking club and like tries to bang her head on the ground, but then like somehow Miyubi's fast enough to get in the way, so she just headbutts her back. And then like, and it just looks like Miyubi slowly reaches up and caresses Kagami's cheek, and like. And then suddenly Kagami's like, oh, you slapped me. And we're like, that was a slap.
That was one of my favorite gags in the show, too. Like, that was really good.
It was good. And she's like, I don't want you to keep killing yourself. And then it's just like, it's literally, you're just like, oh, she's comforting her. And then she's like, oh, you slapped me. And then Jin and everybody's like, that was a slap. It's pretty fantastic. Then the next scene, King apologizes to Impala for getting a little too horny the other day, and he's like, "Oh, there's a typhoon coming in." And Impala's like, "My typhoon's here." No.
Oh God! I'm just like, no, you can't say that. You can't say my typhoon is here. Like that's weird.
Is that a pickup line you've ever used?
No, I'm pretty sure if some dude was like, "My typhoon has arrived," and I'm like, I'd be like, "Fuck off!" Like. You're a creepy weirdo.
So King obviously wants to like do it right away, starts taking her into the woods, and the Impala's like, no, I want you to meet my parents first. And then like this show just throws all this like stuff at you about lions. Like lions can mate like every 15 minutes for up to 5 days, which would be like 250 times or something like that. But they say it only lasts like 20 seconds. So it's just like a 20-second spurt, 15-minute break, go at it again. I'm not too sure about that one, and like I found various sources, and like these numbers would go from like 15 seconds to 20 seconds to like up to 4 days. It was just like, it's just, I don't know. It's like they just studied like one lion, and this one lion that only does it for 4 days, and this other one did it for 5 days. But the point being, lions fuck a fuck ton in a week. Goddamn.
It's weird. Like I can see why evolutionarily that's a good thing. To be able to.
Well, the main reason was because female lions do not ovulate unless stimulated. So the more they're stimulated, the more they'll ovulate and produce an egg.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the reasoning behind it.
Like the more you can get it up and the quicker you come, like the more genetic material.
More chances of getting them pregnant. Yeah.
Yeah.
In our biology, yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of our biology, there's a question about that later on. The typhoon arrives and like knocks out the power for a moment, while Miki, the student council president, wonders if she should resign as student council president. The underground dorms become flooded, so everybody underground has to like go in a room with some people above ground. So like there's like this star-nosed mole that gets roomed with Hitomi, and she's like, "Hey, I heard that your human's mating season lasts all year round." And Hitomi's like, I mean, I wouldn't know. It's like,
I wouldn't know.
So I suggest we ask our local expert Kat, can you confirm this?
I mean, yes, it is all year round. Humans can fuck whenever we want. That is the only perk we have.
I mean, there's certain times of the month when it's less fun.
I mean,
So Jin's roommate.
well, I'm gonna ask you then, Leo. Would you like to have the ability to be like basically fuck like a lion? Like you can get it up every 15 minutes, whenever you want.
But it's just like a 20-second go.
Yeah, but then you get to come in 20 seconds.
Yeah,
and you
from
get
the
to do it
male
again in
perspective,
15
that
minutes.
sounds amazing. But like, what chick is going to do that with you?
I don't know. I guess you'd have to be like really good in other ways. Maybe like find an asexual woman. Just be like, hey.
Leo, you fucked this up.
this.
You fucked this up so bad. Like the easy response is, "How do you know I don't fuck like a lion cat?" Like, that's the easy response. Like, come on.
I'm sorry,
No,
I took
but see-
it quite literally.
Yeah, Leo wants to actually entertain this question. He wants to think about it.
Like I said, not only would you like find, how would you find a woman who would be down with this? And then again, there is not, I want the woman to be pleasured. If she's just like laying there like a dead fish with like her eyes look like a doll's, I'm just like, what the fuck? What?
If her eyes look like, there's this like one shot at the end of this episode where there's like a Triceratops teacher in front of the classroom, and that Triceratops teacher's eyes looked like they'd seen like Laura Dern in Jurassic Park digging through that Triceratops shit by the pregnant Triceratops or something. I don't know. That just stood out to me. But those kinds of eyes.
So
yeah.
Jen's roommate turns out to be Hitomi. Not Hitomi. God damn it. Why do I keep getting people's names wrong? Sorry, Miki.
Yeah.
Which is, at my immediate response is they would not room male and female roommates
that's
regardless
just
of
bullshit.
species. What the fuck? And she asks if he would like to be student council president. Also, she's sitting there in her panty and bras. What the fuck ever. She recognizes that all the interspecies relationships he has been causing is making actually everybody happier. And she realizes that he must be doing something, maybe, right? And then Jin fantasizes about basically abusing his powers as student council president and like sending all the animals back into the wild so that he and Hitomi can have the school to themselves. Like he even remembers like a Ronka coming out of the bushes and gives her a bone so she'll go away.
So good. I actually really liked that whole like fantasy sequence. It's really funny.
Eventually, like she interrupts and she's like, "No, not like that! God damn it!" And then they hear a commotion out in the hallway, and they find like a bunch of animals have like arrived to talk to Miki because apparently she's always hiding away, and we have these problems, we need to go over them. And they temporarily take over Jin's room while she helps solve their problems. And this also does do a lot to give her confidence back as student council president. And like eventually Jin's like, "You're talking about all this interspecies stuff, and here you just talked to all these other species individually and gave them advice. So, you're doing the good thing." And she's like so happy, she strips completely naked, and Jin's like trying to force clothes back on her, like, "What the fuck are you doing, you crazy woman?" And like the girls show up and misinterpret, and she's like on the floor, like covering herself. She's like, "No, what are you doing, you pervert?"
Oh, I know. She ends up making him look like a rapist. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah.
It gets cleared up real quick though.
Yeah, so they take her to Tomi's room, and everybody's like, "All right, sorry for the misunderstanding." And they're like, "You can be comfortable here. You can go ahead and strip if you want." And she's like, "Well, actually, I have a little request too. Would you guys strip also with me?" Mm-hmm. So, of course, they're all standing around in their bra and panties. And, of course, there has to be boob comparison. Like May's looking around. Everybody got this great rack, and then she sees Ronka who's flat as a board, and she's like, "Here, you stand over here in front of me.
Stand over here with me in the washboard club."
Yeah,
She's like,
there
listen.
is like some universal rule in anime that like if a bunch of girls get naked together, somebody's gonna do some boob comparing. And
Oh, yeah.
I do
I mean,
feel
it's
like
realistic.
that there is quite a bit of, I feel like there should be truth to that would be true.
There is. I mean, like, okay, if you get a bunch of dudes together naked in a locker room, there's
No.
some dick comparison.
Not
There's
really.
some dick comparison.
No, not
there's
really.
some, like, slide to the side, like, like thoughts, though. Like, you look at other guys' dicks, like, in passing and are like, you do. Come on.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely people do that, but like they don't go like they don't like say. Well, typically they don't say things out loud, though. That does happen too.
Or let me get a boner and show you actually how big it does get. That doesn't happen.
Sure.
Okay.
But yeah, no, like, that's similar to that. You know, things happen in the girls' locker room where they'd be like, oh, wow, your boobs really came in this weird, blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, I wish I had those. But it's not like...
Okay,
you know.
see, that does not happen in the men's locker room
Oh,
at all.
your dick really came in this year, buddy. No, it doesn't happen.
Well, to be fair, that doesn't really happen. Well, I guess that does happen to dudes. Like, their dick at some point grew. Like, I don't know. Do you remember when your dick
it's
grew and, like,
unspoken
became
rule,
an adult dick?
You just don't talk about it with other guys.
You pull out like a tape measure, like, oh man, another half-inch since summer. Holy shit, buddy. You're really getting along.
Do dudes, like, measure as their dick gets bigger?
I don't, maybe.
To
I
themselves,
didn't.
yes.
Yeah, I thought so. I was like, well, I mean...
So, two random things happen at the end. Some new girl with red hair shows up on a bicycle eating a giant piece of meat, and she's like, there's a human here. And that's it. And then King...
Isn't it like an elephant? Because she's from the credits, like the opening credits.
Oh, I don't know. The girl eating meat, I don't think she's an animal necessarily. I don't know what she is.
I was
don't
looking.
know.
I couldn't see any ears or anything on her, so I don't know.
And she poses with all those big ass... They look like elephants, so I assumed she was
Oh,
an
maybe.
elephant.
Okay, so maybe she is something then, yeah.
I don't know. The other random thing is King gets to meet Paul's parents, and her
Hide behind
father,
a couch.
her father eventually was like, all right, I accept you dating my daughter, or possibly going to Heat with her fucking in a couple days, but you have to participate in the Apollo tournament. And then it shows just like dun dun dun, and then that's it.
One of my favorite little jokes in this episode was when the lights went out, like Leo was talking about, in the power outage, and the Tarsier girl's eyes, their pupils get really big.
Yeah, they
and
dilate like crazy.
So she had like what looked like normal anime girl eyes in the dark, because normal anime girl eyes have gigantic pupils.
And she was like all shining and beautiful looking.
It was
And Mayme
great.
was like, what the fuck was that about?
And then her pupils like shrunk back down to like the kind of like ugly little pupils she has when it got light again. But yeah, I actually thought like every joke in this episode kind of landed for me. This is one of my favorite episodes of the show, I think.
Okay.
This is one of your favorite episodes of the show.
Yeah, I was like laughing constantly throughout this episode.
Well,
yeah.
upset for the Honey Badger episode, of course.
No, thank you. Smelly episode. I don't like it.
I think I like the dolphin one best so far. It had the gay giraffes. I like that.
That was pretty great.
Yeah, of course you like the
Yeah.
giraffes.
It was funny. It was hilarious.
It was funny.
Yeah.
Oh man. All
The
right.
next show's funny too.
Yeah.
Yeah. BOFURI is funny in its own way. So we got BOFURI up next. Defense and fourth event. What I don't like about BOFURI is the names of the episodes are not at all.
It's just defense and blank. Yeah. Every episode.
yeah,
It's a little formulaic, and it's
a little lame.
It's a little lame.
Yeah, but okay. So that other guild sends a spy to investigate Maple Tree. Aren't they called like Holy something?
Holy Sword.
Holy Sword. Yes.
Yeah.
So they're like, man, this new small guild that opened up, they're doing something. Let's investigate. The girls splash around in swimsuits. This really is just a patent attempt to be like, look, there are girls in swimsuits.
It's the
I
beach
really didn't
episode,
see-
kind of.
I really didn't see any other reason why that would have had to happen.
The only funny part about that was when like Mei and Yui tried to splash them and didn't know their own strength and like almost made like a tidal wave.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
That was funny. Everything else was just like, typical fan service.
Yeah, it's like, look at us. We have swimsuits on. Oh my goodness. So Frederica, who is the spy that they send, says hi to all of them while they're swimming. And, it's basically like, yeah, I'm investigating you, which I'm like, well, that was stupid. And Sally is like, oh, well, I challenge you to a duel because I want information on your guild, which I guess she pretends to be part of the Flame Guild, the Flame Emperors.
Yeah.
No.
Wait,
She does.
No, she wants the information that she has on the Flame
she says
Emperors.
she's going to only give them information on the Flame Emperors because she knows information about them.
Implying that I think she is in the Flame Guild, but
No,
she's not actually.
because one of her clauses is, I will not give you information on my guild. The sword things, yeah.
She was just saying
See,
that.
I thought she was tricking her about which guild she was a part of even. And I was like, ooh, this is some interesting, like, lies upon lies upon lies thing, which is fun in its own way. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. So while they go off to have this duel to see who's getting information from who, Maple and the girls just go fucking fishing. And I'm like, well, wouldn't you, like, wait?
They trust Sally.
And suddenly Frederica surrenders when she didn't really have to avoid revealing too much information about herself. And at first I was like, oh, Frederica was smarter here. Oh, no. And then...
Yeah, it makes you think that at first, because, like, you think that she gained some info about Sally's, like, moves, like something called Coax Attack and Cascade, which Sally pulls out that she hasn't used before.
Yeah, exactly. And then I guess really Sally was kind of playing her, too.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't giving her, like, all of the information on what she could do, either.
Yeah,
she says, like having... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, she just made up those attacks. They were fake skills. Like, she was just using her own abilities, which are so powerful that they can be mistaken for fake skills.
Yeah. And she's like, having false info is better than having none. And I'm like, oh, damn, good for you. And so you get, like, some of the rules of this fourth challenge before it starts, too. And they're classified as a small guild, and I guess the rules are, like, different for what size guild. And I guess that makes sense, like, to make it more even, so a small guild could potentially win against a larger one.
The only thing I didn't understand about that is they split the guilds into 3 sizes. There's a medium size, but the medium size and the large size guild seems to have all the same, like, things. Like, they get the same amount of points as the large guilds, like, stuff. Like, I don't know, they have the same, like drawbacks as the large guild. I didn't understand the difference between a medium and a small guild.
They better get good, son.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it basically seemed to me like this event was capture the flag, except with orbs.
Yeah, essentially.
Is that's a good way to describe that? Because they went through these rules and it took them fucking forever, and I was just like, well, really, this is just capture the flag.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And there's some like more complicated like bullshit about like the flag will be returned like on blank, and it's an orb and not a flag. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah. 5 deaths and you're out. So they're having the girls and Kanade on defense, like when they're talking about like their strategy. That made no sense to me because the girls are offensive players. Like they put all of their stats into offense.
Yeah, but they also have like very poor defense without Maple, so they have to be with Maple somewhere, and then Maple's slow to get around, except she's not. She has a flying turtle, so I don't I don't really understand
but
it
on
either.
a battlefield the flying turtle's not going to be the greatest at all times.
Also, who is guarding their orb? Because I didn't really see who was guarding their orb, and it would make more sense to me to put Maple and the girls in like guarding, and then have the others go out and get orbs and bring them back to them.
No, I thought that's what they were doing, though.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
No, but I thought they both went out and got stuff.
I think they eventually do. I've seen the next episode, so it's like kind of like they switch up the strategy as they go. Yeah.
Yeah, they needed a better strategy is the point. They really needed a better strategy.
But did they? Because they're so overpowered.
I guess they didn't. I guess they're just like, well, we're so overpowered. Why do we care?
Yeah, it doesn't actually matter that much because Sally's just going to ninja a bunch of fucking orbs on her own, basically.
Yeah, Sally goes fucking insane at some point.
Yeah, she basically does. Like, she goes fucking nuts. She gets a whole bunch of orbs from different guilds. Even once she tricks 2 guilds into fighting each other and like takes both of their orbs while they're fighting each other. You do get to see some of the other guilds in action. The Holy Sword Guild or whatever, that axe guy looks intense. I can't wait for him to fight Maple because I feel like that would be an interesting standoff.
There's a part where the first people they raid and like Chromo's there, and he says just like this dumbest, most oblivious line I've heard him say, and he's like, because like the girls just like wreck everybody, and he's like, all of our girls are scary as hell, and I'm just like, you're the only male in the fucking guild. What kind of fucking statement's that? You might as well say the guild's fucking scary as hell.
Yeah, I mean, he's just being kind of misogynist there, like
that
showing
line,
that side of it.
It pulled me out of the anime really hard. I was just like, why
it's because they're hoping
that?
to sell a bunch of figurines on fetishizing these girl characters.
That's true.
Don't you understand this, Leo? They want like almost topless things of like all of them, basically.
I will say
that's going to be really disappointing to see. It's going to be Sally most of all, I bet, because like back to that swimsuit scene, like the 3 other girls are in like one pieces and Sally's the only one in like a sexy bikini, and I can just see these fucking like sexy bikini things of Sally that are going to be made, and I'm just like, this feels weird.
I will say like their armors and stuff, which I've been paying close attention to, it does cover a lot of their skin. There's no like revealing like cleavages or anything like that.
Oh, but they managed to get some stuff
Sally, I noticed, has a little bit because she almost has like a one-piece bikini on, so she get like a little side stomach shit going on. But that's about it, really.
Yeah, it's more conservative than a lot of MMO type anime.
Yeah, but I will agree it is a little bit more conservative. But they find a way when they want to,
for sure.
Just like any.
There's some Sally butt shots in this show. Like, it's mostly Sally.
There's always something.
Yeah.
But yeah, now, she even steals one from the Flame Girl from the Flame Emperor Guild. And I think it's weird. Mia's like, I'm a badass. And then she gets one of her fucking orbs stolen. And she's like, oh, I'm so sad.
It just shows that like her persona is just a total front.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, I guess.
That's all it means.
I don't know.
I thought it was kind of fetishy and weird.
It is definitely fetishy. Like I agree with you, Kat, because like I felt like uncomfortable a little bit when I'm like I see her, like, a strong female character get turned into like a little crybaby. I see what they're doing with the joke, but I also am like, oh really, we're doing this? Okay.
Exactly.
So I like laughed at it, but then I was like, oh wait, this is weird.
You're like,
I was like, I haven't seen this 1,000 times, is how I felt about it. I was like, well, I guess some dudes get off on that.
Oh, man. Yeah. So I guess, the event's still going on, though, right? Into the next episode, I think.
Yes, so next episode will be more of the event. Yes.
Okay. Cool. I think they're going to
Speaking of a show that does not also does not get to the main event.
Yeah, that's true. Haikyu to the top. We're still not at the top.
We're still not, and we're on episode 9.
Not at the top.
Not at the top. That's concerning.
Everyone's night. But this is I liked this episode, though. It got some...
Did you? Because I was like, what happened? Other than, we're finally at Nationals. We didn't do anything.
There were some pretty decent character moments in this one with Daichi.
Some random bonding friendship moments, and that's it.
Yeah, it's true. It really boils down to like a couple of bonding moments with Daichi, a couple bonding moments between like Shimizu and Yachi that I thought were all right. But yeah, the episode starts off Daichi's having like a nightmare that all of Cross and
right away. Daichi has some serious fucking mental issues.
What?
His alarm clock is dogs barking.
Okay.
That is psychopath shit.
Why is that psychopath shit?
Why is he a psychopath? Because his alarm is dogs barking.
Because have you ever been woken up by real dogs barking?
No.
It's infuriating. Oh, you want to murder shit. And then you got to get up and you got to make them stop. So if somebody set their alarm as dogs barking, I would just like wake up in this like furious rampage and like wanted to snap your phone like, what the fuck are you doing? You don't know what it's really like waking up from real dogs barking.
Well, I mean, maybe he's just really hard. He's like a hard sleeper, and he needs something extra, like, scary to wake up to. I mean, I'm that way. I sleep hard. I have to have a really fucking loud alarm.
Yeah, I'm lucky if my alarm wakes me up. Oh man, I have to set like 5. It's so bad.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's interesting. I didn't even notice that part. But yeah, he is in his own head because he thinks that like in this dream that Karasuno's volleyball matches have ended, and when he goes to like the school gym, it's been taken over by the basketball club.
Yeah, and they're like, no, this is our gym. You're the only member of the volleyball club.
Yeah.
That's a weird dream. That's weird I will say it's weird that is his nightmare.
No,
I don't
it's
think
not.
it's so
He
weird.
wakes up, the dog's barking. That sounds
Oh.
like a totally crazy batshit dream
I don't
to
think
me.
it's weird because he's a senior. His career as a volleyball player is almost over, and he's feeling the end coming. Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, that's where it comes from. It's that fear.
He made it to nationals in his senior year, though. That's pretty damn good.
I know, but it's still like as you get towards the end of like your sports career, because like if you know you can't play at the next level, or it's unlikely anyway, like it does feel like the end of a chapter of your life is coming up, and it's in like you will get like thoughts like this kind of probably. And I know I did when I stopped playing baseball. So yeah. Like Daichi, Asahi, and Suga, and Shimizu all meet up to do a shrine visit, since it's like New Year's. And they pray and get fortunes, and Asahi gets like a bad luck fortune, which he kind of predicted, he was afraid of. And Suga and Daichi both got good luck. I don't know if that's actually going to like happen in the match, like if Asahi's going to have like a bad match, but that would be kind of funny. They talk about how they prayed that like they'll win in their upcoming match and like other like mundane things. And then Shimizu, who's a badass, tells them, like, the gods won't help us win our matches, guys. Which kind of shocks them, but then she's like, but even if they don't help us, we'll be fine. And then, like rays of light come from her, like she's an angel as the guys look at her. It's kind of funny. But she's really confident, and she's always been able to, like, get the team pumped up, and that's one of her best aspects as team manager. Yeah, so funnily, Hinata invites Kageyama on a shrine visit, to which he texts back, hell no. Which, just like a random aside. And then, yeah, Daichi like shows up at the gym, sees that it's not been taken over by the basketball club.
Did you totally skip over the scene where Kyoko's on the steps and smiles?
I literally just talked about that scene. You just weren't listening.
I was specifically listening. Oh, damn it.
I was talking about how she was shining like an angel as the guys looked at her and how confident she was, and you missed all
Jesus
that.
Christ, I'm losing touch with reality with you in
I
these
think
shows.
you just don't know that her last name is, or her name is Shimizu, like Kyoko Shimizu, because I was talking about Shimizu.
That must have been it.
Yeah, I think that's what the problem was. Anywho.
That's probably why, yeah.
Yeah, but like Daichi gets pissed when he sees that like some of the young guys are playing like a paddleball game outside in the cold. And
yeah, I was like, what the fuck is this? Why are they playing paddleball?
I don't know, because they're idiots. He's like, it's too cold. Go the fuck home. You're supposed to like
you
be
have
resting.
nationals.
Yeah.
Soon. Stop. You idiot.
They can't stop. They won't stop. Then Daichi bumps into Ikijiri, who has appeared in the show previously. He played at Tokonomi High, and he also went to the same junior high school as Daichi. And so they're kind of old friends, and Daichi is like realizing like he's like really nervous before this game, and like Ikijiri basically just tells him to be confident, and Daichi realizes he can't be the only one who's nervous. He's also not alone, and he can trust in himself and in his teammates.
Well, okay, but he says to be confident, and he's like, oh, but you only will get to do this once. Better not fuck up.
Yeah,
but
that's
don't
true.
worry about it. There was some, like, veiled pressure there. Let's be real.
Oh, yeah. Ikijiri has a history with him, for sure. And like, that dates back to, like, I think the first season there was the match between them. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, so it's, like, a little vague in my mind. But, yeah, Ikijiri was always, like, kind of in awe of Daichi for, I guess when they were playing against each other, Daichi was trying his hardest to win, even though Tokonami was like a way better team. And so he was just kind of impressed by Daichi's like resolve in the face of that. And so I think he's still a little angry about that. So he's like telling Daichi, like, in this kind of competitive way, like, you better not fuck up.
It's like, you got there, not me. I'm kind of pissed about it, but
yeah, exactly.
better not fuck it up. Yeah.
So the team, they take a bus to Tokyo for the tournament. At first, Tanaka's really excited because he thinks they're staying in a huge inn, but it's actually like a little tiny inn right next door. And he's like, oh, but it might be haunted. So he gets excited again. After getting settled in, Coach Ukai shows them this like highlight reel DVD video he made of like all the best plays they've made over like the last like year or so.
And he also put it to a soundtrack to get
did.
them to remember and get even more which was like, what the fuck to me.
Yeah, they're like, the production value on this is really high, which I felt like was the anime like kind of patting itself on the back. Which is kind of funny. And that night, Daichi catches Hinata and Kageyama as they try to go out for another fucking jog, and he's like, all right, I realize that maybe this is the lesser of two evils, because like if you're little balls of energy and you can't sleep, it might be worse. So I'll let you go out and run, but Tsukishima has to go with you. But like Tsukishima's like, I can't keep up with them. So he asks the innkeeper for a bicycle so he can ride along with them. Yeah, we also got like brief glimpses of how like all the other guys are just coping with nerves, and it's like studying or watching the hype video that got made. And then Tanaka and like you are thinking about how Kyoko is taking her bath right now and they can't focus. And so then we get that bath scene, which was interesting because Yachi's like always been so nervous around like her senpai, and she's trying to talk to her, and like the thing that she brings up is like, you wear black tights with your summer uniform, that's weird. And Kyoko basically tells her, well, I have scars on my legs from when I was on my junior high track team as a hurdler, and I would like run into the hurdlers more often than the other girls, and I would get scars.
Hey, scars are sexy, come on.
Scars are cool. Chicks dig scars, guys dig scars. It's
Yeah,
fun.
I mean, but you know, sometimes they look a little unsightly. I get it.
For
I get
sure.
it.
And Yachi's like, oh, those are like a Medal of Honor. And she kind of gets embarrassed that she said that. And Kyoko is like, no, that made me really happy, actually. And they kind of like promise to like return to the bath the next day and like talk about it after Kurasuno wins their game. Because they're confident in that. So it's just like a bonding moment between them. The next day is the start of this big spring national tournament. There's a really funny moment when Hinata like bumps into you, who then starts like slow motion floating towards this really cute girl's chest. And he's like, this is my lucky day. I've been waiting for an accident like this my whole life. He's like, thank you, God. He starts to give into it. He's just going to like pile, like face drive. What am I trying to say? Face plow? I don't know how the fuck you say it. He's going to plow his face into this girl's chest. And she catches him right before he hits. And he's like kind of disappointed. And we find out this girl is actually a wing spiker from Niyama High School who Tanaka used to know in like 4th grade. And he comes over and he starts talking to her really casually, which is weird for Tanaka because like he can't talk to girls at all. And like as soon as he looks down like an inch and realizes like she has a really nice chest that she didn't have in 4th grade, he completely turns to stone and can't talk anymore. It's pretty funny. And yeah,
He's
the players
oh,
like
shit,
banter.
you are a woman now.
Yeah, you are no longer an
Yes.
elementary schooler. Oh boy. Yeah, the players banter a bit with like each of their rivals, which I didn't really take notes on like what they said because it's just, generic talk. And then the opening ceremonies begin.
I like that they put the opening ceremonies in.
Yeah.
It sort of gives you an idea of like the seriousness of it. Like, no, this is nationals, motherfucker, kind of thing. But also, I'm kind of like, this is the fucking 9th episode. You have 3 more. We haven't even started the first game of nationals.
I think we actually have 4 more this season because I think they're doing 13 before the split core ends.
But I mean, they literally had an entire season of one game. How are they covering one game in 4 episodes? Even if it is 4.
Well, yeah, it's going to be like a 4-episode game probably.
Yeah, and then
That's
they're
my
going to have
guess.
more. So I'm assuming like next season will be more of nationals.
Yeah, it'll be
just
tons
a
of
weird-
nationals. Yeah.
It's a weird place to cut it, is all I'm saying. And I get that this is a split core, so it's, I guess, maybe a little less weird.
Mm-hmm.
But effectively, it is 2 seasons. I don't like it when things do like split core, because really it's just 2 seasons.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and so they'll cut in the middle there, and it'll be in the middle of the nationals tournament for sure. But hey, it's the time that they need to get the anime produced. You got to give it to them. especially with a lot of studios kind of being shut down by coronavirus as well. So,
I mean, yeah, I'd rather them take longer and do it right. It just annoys me. They could also just wait and put it all out once they've completed more of it. But whatever.
yeah.
Whatever. I'm just happy to have it. I like Haikyu.
Yeah. Yeah, in that ceremony scene, I just liked the way they focused on each of the players' faces as they were, like, walking in. And, like, how they...
Yeah, it's like their moment of recognition. Like, I got to nationals.
And they realize, like, how big the stage actually is. And, like, each of their reactions to that is kind of interesting. You know, like, Hinata's just, like, smiling like he couldn't be fucking happier. And, like, some of the others
so young to be there.
Yeah.
Some of the seniors are like, well, this is my only shot. Like, I guess I'm glad I finally got here. Like, the young guys are like, I have years, but now I'm in nationals already. I'm excited. Like, it's not as life or death for them.
Exactly.
Obviously. So, yeah.
So, yeah, but next episode, I assume we will finally get to real shit matches, which, hey, it took a while, but we're here.
I'm excited to see something is going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
There's not been a lot this season. I almost wonder if there's going to be scouts because a few of them were at an Olympic like practice section.
Yeah.
So to me, if they're hinting that, then they may be like, no, this is nationals. There's going to be some people scouting for the Olympic team.
Well, they compared it to like Koshien almost with baseball. So like scouts definitely watch Koshien. So if there's not going to be the same level of scouts for volleyball that there are for professional baseball in Japan, but I assume there should be people there who are watching, who are thinking about the Olympic team and other like professional sides of volleyball. So yeah.
Yeah, I would hope because it would make it more realistic. And this show has been decently realistic with things like that.
Yeah,
so
for
we'll
sure.
see.
There was one line earlier on when they all showed up at the school, like just randomly. And there was one line where the guy goes, I ran away from my drunk sister. I like that one.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Last show?
Yeah, last show.
All right. Well, as always, we end with our porny interspecies reviewers. We gotta end with a bang. So, okay, this episode, they start out, and I guess they're actually doing a job this time, not starting out with a review. They're delivering a bunch of goods to this vampire on this hill. So they deliver the goods. They're kind of having small talk with their client, just kind of like you would. And they're putting up this painting of a Yuki Onna, and the elf says, like, oh, I couldn't do one in real life. They're too much. But, like, oh, on this painting, it's so pretty. I almost wonder if eventually they're going to do, like, a Yuki Onna brothel, because they've made several mentions of Yuki Onna.
Yeah, they could be building up to that for sure.
Yeah, so we'll see. And Zell is like, yeah, man, I wish there was a brothel around here. Like, we've traveled 9 days to get to this vampire. Like, sure sucks. Vampire's like, hey, I've got a brothel nearby. I mean, it may be not what you want, but you can try it out. Turns out this guy has, like, his own brothel just to himself.
Oh, boy.
Which is weird to me. Like, I guess they're all dead, so they don't probably eat.
It's good to be the count.
Did Leonard Skinner start playing for anybody else at this point?
Living dead girl.
No. That is not Leonard Skinner.
I know, but that's what went through my head. I was like,
oh my god. That actually used to be one of my pump up songs when I ran cross country.
I could see you really liking that song.
Rob Zombie,
which Leonard Skinner song are you thinking about?
That smell. Oh, that smell. Can't you smell that smell? Oh, that smell. The smell of death surrounds you.
Yeah.
That's what popped in my head. I was like, wow.
They don't talk about, well, I guess they do talk about the smell with one of them, but like most of them, they don't really talk about that.
No. Stunk and the Beast guy both definitely talk about the smell quite a bit.
Yeah. No,
and that's gross. Like, that would be such a deal breaker for me.
The deal breaker for me would be the temperature. I couldn't fuck someone who's cold.
No, yeah, that would be bad too. That would just not.
I would rather.
Well, I'm saying you would notice the smell first, so like I would even make it to that point.
Yeah, no, I don't know how they're like, well, we'll try it. It's like, well, we'll try anything once. Let's just do it. I'm like, okay.
And then I was like, all right, the vampire is hot. she's fuckable. She shouldn't smell, should she? And then they're like, oh, usually they're only loyal to the ones who turned them into vampires. It's like, you took away the one good thing.
Really? I know, and I'm also like, then she just sits around all day in her coffin, like, maybe this month he'll come and fuck me
Basically.
once. Man, I hope so. That fucking sucks. That's a life I don't want. Why is she not left? Or why doesn't she live in the castle or something? That weirded me out. He basically has his own undead harem that he only uses once a month.
I was annoyed by some subs when they're fucking like one of the girls. I can't remember which one it was in this part, but she basically says in Japanese, like, shitai no moto shitai no, which basically is like, I want to do more, I want to do more. And like the subs were like wildly like creative and
I think that was the zombie girl.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense, but they literally say like, bury your cock in me, fuck me to death, and I'm like, that's not exactly what she said in Japanese, buddy.
Well, I think they take a little license.
Yeah, there was a lot of creative license there. I was like, okay,
creative initiative, yeah.
I didn't like the hopping vampire. And
the Chinese hopping vampire.
Yeah, Chinese one.
He's like, well, she just kind of lies there like a corpse, and I'm like, oh, you had to do that. Okay. All right.
Plus, she's a lolly, and the show really needs to chill with that shit. Again, in the final scene, too, but yeah.
Well, the final scene bothered me a lot more than that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I know. And, I don't know. So, yeah, to me, that whole... the undead brothel is not for me. I was like, no. But it was interesting. It was different, I guess. So they come back and they meet up with Krim, who... Krim, who was like, yeah, while you were gone, I went to this slime brothel thing, which I guess is like different than a living slime. It's like a magician who has slime that she controls. And to me, this was like fetishized Harry Potter bullshit, is what this was to me.
Yeah.
Was this not a fetishy Harry Potter thing?
It is basically a Harry Potter / fic, yeah. Like 100%.
Yeah. And I was just like, no, stop it. You're ruining my childhood. No. My favorite quote from this part, and I know this is not what they said in Japanese, but I fucking liked the subtitles. This is why I like sometimes that they take creative license.
Well, some of these subtitles, I think this part of the episode, I actually really enjoyed the subtitles. I thought they were really good. Yeah. It was the right amount of creative. Yeah.
Yeah. Slime be nimble, slime be quick. Slime caress this cute boy's day. I'm just like, oh no, stop! And then I'm like, oh no, but it was funny. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
it's like half of me is like, it was funny, and the half of me is like, it's cringy. Oh no. So
yeah, in this part of the episode, I really liked the incantations, like she was speaking or whatever. But what I didn't like was that it was just basically tentacle sex again. And we've already done that in this show. I was like, oh, that's kind of boring.
Yeah, I mean, it is similar. It's slightly different.
Yeah.
It's not that much different, though.
Yeah,
right.
The wand thing. Like I said, it is Harry. It's kind of Harry Potter.
Yeah, that was the part that made it fun. So this was my favorite part of the episode, just because of the silliness of that stuff. But
yeah. So, and then I guess they also find out that other reviewers have started basically ripping them off because they're like, that's a good idea. We should review brothels. And they're angry about it at first, but then they're like, well, let's just read these reviews and see if we can't find somewhere fun.
You know what? We need to start a GoFundMe, and then we can go review brothels ourselves.
Oh, we should just, if we really wanted to do that, we'd just review probably porn or something, honestly. But I don't know. So,
Nerdom and Other Nonsense After Dark.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
we needed to add more words to the title of our podcast.
I could just say it all sexy. After dark.
Oh, wow. I'm aroused. Wow.
That would work.
Oh, my.
I like that.
Yeah. So, and they include women reviewers. So there's actually some women who started doing this too. I did not like this woman who started doing these fucking half porn, half review things. Yes. So first of all,
wasn't
she
it like a
uses the
review
term
of her own porn though?
Yes. So she makes fucking porn, then she reviews the brothel that she's using to make the porn while she masturbates. And I'm like, okay, first of all, you cannot yell out what you think of it while it's happening. That's not how porn works. That's not how you record a porn. That's not how you shoot one. 2, you can't fucking masturbate while you direct. That's disgusting. Unless you just want to do it for fun. It's not going to work out as a business plan.
Yeah.
And 3rd, just the scene was gross because it was just this lolly-looking girl.
Yeah.
With
And
the
I was just
hyena
like,
girl,
no.
which is
Oh,
unsettling
I like
too.
the hyena too. That's the thing. I like the hyena girl. She's one of my
how
favorites.
High, do you remember how high that ranked on that ranking system, Bcom?
Was it like 3rd or something, I think?
It was high up there. So like I can see kind of why they revisited her if she was that high.
Yeah. The only part of this I liked is the fact that they used the term "you're a yacht," which I will remember and use at some point because that's fun.
That is fun.
Yeah. And then at the end, the reviewers mentioned that there's this place called Magic Metropolis that's apparently really fucking far away that always gets super, super high ratings. And so they're very excited to try this, and they decide to go travel to it. So that will be next episode. It'll be interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
I don't know.
have
This one was like, it's kind of scatterbrained as an episode. Didn't have a lot of form to it, you know?
Yeah.
Sort of was loose.
I feel like it sounds like none of us really found any of the brothels they visited this episode appealing.
I would agree with that.
I mean,
yeah,
I would
the
go to
undead
the
one was
witch
just
one
disgusting.
in the middle section. I would go to that one. That'd be kind of fun.
The witch one would
I'd
be
go to the witch one.
The witch one, I would go to that one when like I'd like exhausted everything else and like I'm not really sure what I wanted that day, and I was just like, I'll go give it a try. You know what the hell?
But you're not a Harry Potter fan. I feel like a lot of people, if that existed,
I've read
they'd be
all the
like,
Harry Potters.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like if that existed, a lot of people would be like, and I can dress up as my favorite house. Yes, I'll be there.
Oh, good God.
I mean, you know, everyone's got to have their fandom shit.
Kat's probably got like a terabyte hard drive full of just like Harry Potter porn.
I mean, I will neither confirm nor deny.
Anything else, guys, you'd like to add before we sign out?
I'm excited to see what this place will be like for sure. It'll either be like so interesting and over the top that we'll be talking about it for fucking forever next week, or it'll just be sort of like, oh, this was it. Bleh.
Yeah, I'm worried a little bit because like the show seemed like this episode was like slightly starting to run out of like great ideas, like or like getting slightly repetitive. So hopefully they have more things to pull out of their sleeve.
Yeah, because at the beginning it was so creative, like the meat girl.
Yeah,
the meat girl was so creative, and even some of the stuff that was gross and not like sexy was interesting. Like the weird egg thing was interesting.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay. I know where
It
we
kept
are in
us
the
talking.
manga. There, a plot actually starts developing next episode.
Okay, that's cool.
An actual
That would make
plot,
sense.
an actual story really starts happening next episode.
I figured that because we have 3 episodes left. I bet you they'll do like a connected kind of arc for the last 3 episodes.
Yeah, the manga is not that much farther ahead at this point, but yeah, some stuff starts happening. Yeah. So I will tell you to remain optimistic then.
All right.
Okay, I'm excited then.
Yeah. All right. We thank all our listeners for listening. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube to get updates on new podcasts or videos. You can also find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitchers. And follow us on Twitter at Nerdom for updates as well. Socket Souffle, your mom's house podcast. Just crazy shit. Anyways, join our Discord. Talk to us. Bcom and I talk to everybody. We answer usually pretty quickly unless we're like asleep or something. And with that, we'll see everybody next time.
Yeah, bye.
See ya.
See you soon.
Be optimistic.
Yeah, be very optimistic.